Cobra Kai has come to an end, but many fans are left wanting more. Currently, there are no plans for more seasons, but this story could continue in many ways. That's why, in this video, I've compiled the best theories about what we could see in the future of the series, whether in a hypothetical season 7 or a spin-off of the saga. Ready? Let's begin. First, let's talk about what we could see in a possible Season 7. This would most likely continue to be set in All Valley. Here we would see what happened with Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. Season 6 ended with both of them working together in their respective dojos, sharing students to take them to a new level of karate. We would likely see what happened with Johnny's family, and also what Daniel's life is like now that his daughter Samantha has left the country. However, it's most likely that Daniel and Johnny would no longer be the protagonists of the series. Season 6 perfectly wrapped up both of their stories, so it would be very difficult to continue with them as the main characters. If they return, it would have to be as secondary characters. Who will be the new protagonists? If a Season 7 were to exist, it would probably be led by the younger characters of the series. In this case, it would be Kenny, Anthony, and Devin. At the end of the series, Johnny and Daniel talk about these students. They mention that the All Valley tournament is approaching, and they must decide which dojo Devin and Anthony will compete with, Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai. With this information, it becomes clear that these young fighters have trained extensively and are at the necessary level to participate in the All Valley. If you ask me, Kenny would be the ideal protagonist for Season 7. Among the younger characters, he is the one with the most talent and karate skills. In the Sekai Taikai, we saw him fight at an excellent level. Winning the All Valley should be very easy for him. In a hypothetical Season 7, they could show more of his friendship with Anthony LaRusso, although their rivalry could likely reignite if they face each other in the tournament. Another important detail would be the relationship between Kenny and Devin. In the Sekai Taikai, we saw them make peace, and it even seemed like there could be a romance between them. With this in mind, it makes perfect sense to use Kenny as the protagonist of a hypothetical Season 7. He has a rival, Anthony, and a romantic interest, Devin. But what will happen with the other characters? If we think about characters like Miguel, Tori, or Robbie, it's unlikely they would be the main characters. First of all, because they all left All Valley. This means they are no longer with Daniel and Johnny. Also, their story arcs have concluded, and their endings were satisfying. It would be difficult to create a whole new season focused on them. However, what could happen is that Season 7 gives us an episode centered on each of them. For example, we could see an episode about Miguel and Sam. At the end of the series, both characters left together for Okinawa. This is an interesting place where we could see them learn more about Miyagi's past, or even have fights with new characters from that region. It would be difficult to build an entire series or season in Okinawa, but Sam and Miguel's story could easily provide an episode. Let's talk about Robbie and Tori. Their story ended very well. They left together to travel the world and compete in karate tournaments. Plus, they were sponsored by a major sports company. It's a good ending, but there were still some details missing. We already know that Robbie never won a tournament throughout the entire series, and many fans were disappointed by the way he was eliminated from the Sekai Taikai. If there were a Season 7, they could easily give us an episode where Robbie finally wins his own tournament somewhere in the world. They could even have Robbie face Axel again. At the end of the series, Axel regretted the bad things he had done, but he never apologized to Robbie. Seeing that apology would be very important. Additionally, it would be fitting for them to have a rematch, but this time a fair one. That would be a truly legendary ending for Robbie. Of course, there would also be a chapter focused on Dimitri and Hawk. They could show us some of their adventures in college, facing challenges more typical of geeks like them. Many rumors indicate that they could even have their own spin-off series. It would be called the Binary Brothers, in honor of the character's nickname. This series would basically be the Big Bang Theory, but with karate. The idea is great and not so far-fetched, considering that Hawk is an extremely interesting character, and for many years was considered the best in the series. Let's remember that Hawk is a young man with a rather tragic past. He started the story as an insecure and deeply traumatized young man. At school, he was constantly bullied because of his facial defect. Hawk's life was horrible until he joined Cobra Kai. A character like him could easily carry an entire series. And Dimitri, on the other hand, is healthy. Kreese and Silver's story would also be an interesting element for Season 7. Both characters died, but there are still things left to tell. For example, Johnny Lawrence never found out about Kreese's death. This would have been very important for him since, in the penultimate episode, both characters made peace. Johnny genuinely forgave Kreese for all the bad things he had done. Surely it would have hurt him a lot to learn about his death. We could see this revelation in Season 7. Another detail is that neither Johnny nor Daniel found out about Silver's death. At the end of the season, they practically didn't care where he went. So it would be valuable to see both characters' reactions to these deaths. I'm not saying this idea could take up an entire episode, but it would definitely be something worth exploring. But who would be the villain of Season 7? This is a difficult question. Terry Silver died in the explosion of his yacht, so he's not available. And even if he hadn't died there, he was very sick, so he didn't have much time left. I've read comments saying that Sensei Wolf would be a great villain and could return for revenge against Johnny Lawrence. This idea is interesting, but I don't see it as feasible. Sensei Wolf was evil, but at the end of the season, they clearly showed us that he accepted his defeat and even made a gesture of respect toward Johnny. It's quite clear that Sensei Wolf retired with a certain level of dignity. I highly doubt he wants to cause more harm. With this context, there is no available villain. If there were a Season 7, the series would have to introduce a new villain or rival that our protagonists would have to face in the Hall Valley tournament. Moving away from Season 7, another option to continue the series would be to create spin-offs with familiar characters. We could easily see a series about Dimitri and Hawk, or about Robbie and Tori. However, the most likely spin-off is the one about Mr. Miyagi. This series would tell Miyagi's life story long before the events of the Karate Kid. Here, we would follow a young Miyagi and see his journey through the Sekai Taikai and other karate adventures. This idea is not just a rumor. The Cobra Kai producers have stated that the project is in development. However, it has not been approved by Netflix. The actor chosen for this role would be Brian Takahashi, whom we already saw in Season 6. He appeared in one of Daniel's dreams as the young version of Miyagi. We all agree that his appearance matches Miyagi's quite well. He would be an excellent protagonist for the series. Let's hope this series gets approved, because if it does, it would open up more possibilities to expand the Karate Kid universe. Another very interesting option would be a movie centered on Cobra Kai. This idea was born thanks to an interview Ralph Macchio recently gave. The actor is currently promoting the new movie Karate Kid Legends. And in an interview, he said that if Karate Kid Legends turns out to be a box office success, we could see a Cobra Kai movie in about 2 or 3 years. Ralph Macchio's statements are very important because he knows exactly what the production status of Karate Kid Legends is. If he talks about a Cobra Kai movie, we should take it seriously. Of course, this movie would have to star Johnny Lawrence, but it would also be essential to see someone as important as Daniel LaRusso. But what do you think? Would you like to see a Cobra Kai movie? That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.